This is KGW News at noon.
Just into our newsroom, within the last hour, Oregon Secretary of State Shemia Fagan announced she is resigning. That announcement comes exactly one day after she publicly apologized to Oregonians. Hello, I'm Christine Pitawanich. Thank you for watching KGW News at noon. Less than a week ago, Secretary Fagan admitted she had taken a job consulting for a cannabis company during a state audit of the industry. Let's get right to our Devin Haskins for more on this breaking news story. And Devin, her resignation takes effect next week. Yeah, that's correct, Christine. Secretary of State Shemia Fagan will continue to serve in that role until Monday, May 8th. Then on May 9th, the Deputy Secretary of State, Cheryl Myers, will take over until Governor Tina Kotek appoints a new one. In her statement announcing her resignation, Fagan writes that she's confident that she followed legal and ethical guidelines, but writes, quote, "It is clear that my actions have become a distraction from the important and critical work of the Secretary of State's office." It was just yesterday that Fagan announced she had left her consulting gig for the owners of El Lamoda Dispensary. Previously to that, the Willamette Week reported Fagan began working as a consultant for the dispensary back in February. Court records indicate the company has racked up millions of dollars in unpaid taxes and has been repeatedly sued for not paying bills. The owners have made large donations to top Democrats, including Fagan. And on Monday, the Secretary of State addressed voters and spoke on her decision to terminate that contract.
I will start by sharing that I terminated my consulting contract with Verity Holdings yesterday, and I released the contract to the media earlier this morning. I owe the people of Oregon an apology. I owe the diligent professionals in my agency an apology. I am truly sorry.
Fagan says she took the consulting job to support her family. Her consultant work paid $10 grand a month. It's a hefty increase from the $77,000 a year she gets paid as Secretary of State. She served as a consultant at the same time there was a state audit of the Oregon cannabis industry, but the audit director said Fagan recused herself. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek has asked the state's Department of Justice to examine the audit anyway. Governor Kotek releasing her own statement saying she supports the decision and says, quote, "It is essential that Oregonians have trust in their government. I believe this is a first step in restoring that trust." The news of Fagan's resignation also comes exactly 2 weeks before the May special election. Christine? Okay, Devin, thank you. We'll continue to follow this developing story. And speaking of that special election today, Multnomah County is starting to mail ballots for the Oregon May special election, which is 2 weeks from today. Ballots are going out almost a week late because of a printing error. That error involved the race for Multnomah County Commissioner District 3 and affected every single ballot in the county. State election rules said the county had until today to get it fixed and get the ballots in the mail. That mistake, though, cost Multnomah County at least $300,000. Now, here are some key things to keep in mind. You have until May 16th to vote. You can mail in your ballot on Election Day, but what really matters here is that it's postmarked by that day. 5 of the county's library ballot drop-off sites are closed because of construction, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. Those construction sites are at Albina, Central, Holgate, Midland, and North Portland libraries. Now, if you don't get your ballot by Friday, call the Multnomah County Elections Office. We have more information about the special election on KGW.com. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek is responding to lawmakers' concerns and is now putting the brakes on I-205 tolling until 2026. A brand new subcommittee was also created to oversee ODOT plans in order to lessen negative impacts of tolling on vulnerable communities. This is all happening after House Bill 3614 was introduced just last week to delay tolling for 2 years while a task force studied the impact of tolling. A reproductive health care bill is on its way to the Oregon Senate. Supporters say it protects access to reproductive and gender-affirming care, but opponents
call it too extreme. The House passed the bill yesterday. According to Democrats, it expands access to care, stops politicians from interfering in medical decisions, and protects providers. Opponents say the bill would let minors under the age of 15 get abortions without parental consent and would expand the types of gender-affirming care that the Oregon Health Plan pays for. Republicans say the bill is not clearly written, so they're planning to take the issue to court. Okay, let's take a quick step outside and get a quick look from our sky cam this Tuesday afternoon, taking a look at the Rose City. Our meteorologist Rod Hill joining us now. And Rod, I know earlier this morning saw some thunderstorms in the region. What are we looking at now?
Yeah, in fact, right here, we still have thunderstorms. These are out to sea and they're moving farther and farther out to sea. But there you can see the strikes. So that's impressive that activity has continued once it moved out from the shoreline south of Newport. So right now, radar is showing a little bit of light rain moving into Clark County down toward downtown Portland. There's a little bit of light rain that's moved over Tillamook as well. There are thin spots in the cloud cover, and there's also the ongoing chance, mainly later today, that we would have some more thunderstorms in the region. Now here's Futurecast at 4 p.m. This actually opens up partly sunny skies. It doesn't show any rain, but that doesn't mean there won't be a shower or two. We continue to be very unstable, and certainly this evening there's a chance that we could have some thunderstorms popping over the Cascades and migrate back into the valley. Futurecast does not show that, but keep an eye to the sky. Here is that Rose City shot again. We are up to 60 degrees. Yesterday it was only 60 for a high, so any sliver of sun coming would get us up to about 70 degrees. There's that heightened chance of a thunderstorm this evening. Now coming up, Christine, weather models love tomorrow night and Thursday morning being really active in terms of stormy weather. I'll show you that coming up.
Okay, something to keep tabs on. Thank you, Rod. Portland's South Waterfront is about to get more affordable housing. It's thanks to voters who passed Metro's affordable housing bond back in 2018. Almost 180 families will live here at the new Waterleaf Apartments off South River Parkway and Moody Avenue. The goal of the bond is to eventually build housing for more than 14,000 people. Rent would be locked in at affordable rates for the next 60 to 99 years. We talked to the first person to move in.
The apartment that we have is more than 3 times the size for only $100 more than the last apartment from which we moved. And I know I'm never going to own a home, but I am very happy to live here.
The bond has already helped pay for almost 1,500 units, with another 6,000 or so on the way. This week, the Oregon legislature will hold public testimony on a bill that would ban the removal of homeless camps on public property. And as Blair Best reports, people are weighing in, even though the bill will not be moving forward this legislative session.
There's a relentless rhythm on the streets that's become routine, affecting everyone, regardless of where they sleep.
Felt like, well, I'm just a worthless person sleeping out on the street.
We've heard Charles Lindsay's story before. Homeless since he was 18 and his campsite cleared by the city.
And I lost just about everything I owned.
Done real cold-blooded.
Josephine Allen is still fighting to get her things back after her camp was cleared a year ago.
It makes me feel emotional right now because it's really a sad thing out here. They don't really realize people's lives is in stake.
A proposed bill by 2 Democrats in Beaverton and Portland aims to change that. It's called the Right to Rest Act, and it would make removing unsanctioned homeless camps on public property illegal, and even allow homeless people to sue for $1,000 if they're harassed or told to leave, as long as there was nowhere else for them to go. But the bill missed the deadline to advance in this legislative session.
If a bill like that was passed, that would definitely be a headwind for us.
Kurt McCandless runs a bike shop in Old Town.
Everyone's entitled to human rights, but when it comes to trying to just be a normal business, trying to cater to especially tourists and people coming from out of town, it can be frustrating to think that it would be more difficult to move people from our storefront when we're trying to do our business here.
Now, the right to rest bill has been introduced multiple times. We talked with one of the co-sponsors over the phone today, and they say while the bill won't be passed during this legislative session, they're still going to hold public testimony on it this week. They say it's important to hear public conversation around issues like this and to further this type of legislation, because last time it was introduced, they only got 15 minutes of public testimony, and this week they're hoping for much more.
You know, we should weigh all the options, and, you know, bringing these bills to attention and kind of putting it through the ringer as far as public input is concerned is important.
Hundreds of people statewide have already submitted written testimony. The overwhelming majority oppose the bill.
How many of those are housed? How many of them are the business owners that are more worried about getting a few extra dollars than their fellow man out there dying on the sidewalk?
Some argue more support for mental health and addiction treatment will be what it takes to reverse this routine that's currently forcing homeowners out of the city and homeless people into despair.
So we're people, we're not animals, and even animals need to be loved.
The public hearing is on Thursday, and those behind the bill say they plan to introduce it again in future legislative sessions. Blair Best, KGW News.
Now to a big national story. Today is day 4 of a manhunt for a suspected killer. Hundreds of law enforcement officials across the state of Texas are tracking this man, 38-year-old Francisco Oropesa. Police say they've got very few leads. Today, Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirmed Oropesa has been deported 4 times between 2009 and 2016, so it is possible he's no longer in the U.S. We've also learned that the father of the murdered 9-year-old boy says he made 5 calls to authorities over a 20-minute time span, but he says they didn't arrive until after the massacre. That community in East Texas is grieving and wanting answers. Devin Clark takes us to Cleveland, Texas, where he spoke to family and friends.
I was super sad because my friend died.
Little Aaron Muniz is one of dozens who helped create a memorial outside of the Cleveland home where 5 people were fatally shot execution-style Friday. He says the youngest victim, 9-year-old Daniel Lasso, was his best friend.
He used to play soccer at the bus stop, and he used to be good at goalie, and I liked him on my team.
He says it's what pushed him to write this letter.
I wanted to show him how good I was a friend of him.
Much of the Trailsend community overwhelmed with grief.
I couldn't imagine someone kicking in my door, saying you're coming for my family. It has to be deeper than what they're saying.
Investigators say that after being asked by a neighbor to stop shooting his gun because a newborn was sleeping, 38-year-old Francisco Oropesa went next door with an AR-15, shooting Lasso along with his mother, Sonia Guzman, Diana Alvarado, Julissa Rivera, and Jose Casares.
They didn't shoot back and they didn't have a gun, but the majority of the residents back here shoot back, and they got their own ARs.
As anger and frustration brews in this rural community, Friday's mass shooting also getting attention at the White House.
The president was briefed on the shooting on Saturday morning, and he and the First Lady are praying for those killed in the attack, for their surviving loved ones, and for the broader Cleveland community.